Hello, I'm Jacqueline Nichols, and I am going to continue my journey of sharing a lot of heartfelt, deep stuff for love, for finding love, for enjoying love, and for keeping love. I'm about to hit my hiatus, take a break in the love industry, and before I go, I'm going to give you all of my good, juicy details. And I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to just drain myself dry of information so that I know I gave you all that I could. And obviously, if you're one of my private coaching clients and guide clients that I work with on my 12-week series, don't worry, we're still doing everything great. It's just part of my journey to know that I am going to shift and work with more business people to reach their childhood dreams and be able to get a chance to work in this industry that I have been very successful in too. So I'm going to give my last hurrah, last cheerleading moment for all of my love support over these next few months and then take a little break, but I won't be gone forever. I'm just going to take a little break after the springtime. So I thought I would share a little bit about a topic on male-female communication. I definitely think I should have a PhD in translation of the male and the female communication. It's amazing how people are. So I've got a variety of examples and a lot of misunderstandings that have created many heartbreaks. And I just think it's time to kind of step back and accept that us, male, female, we're just wired differently. It just is what it is. And so us as a whole, the human race, it's awesome. And whether you are in same-sex relationships or you are in opposite-sex relationships, what really it comes down to is your willingness to allow yourself to kind of decipher what they're saying, but also your willingness to step up and communicate when there's a misunderstanding. Women love us women dearly, but boy, we can go on and on and on. When I was married, I was in the Mary Kay business and driving a pink Cadillac and was very successful. And I remember my then husband going to one of the male husband workshops, and he talked about this great guy, one of the husbands of another director, talking about how when a woman comes home from her Mary Kay event, she's so excited, so excited, so excited. She talks and talks and talks, and the guy's like, would you just land the airplane? Because she never gets to the point in his mind. And I've always kept that visual. I've always thought about how many times somebody's up there moving the airplane, circling around, but won't hit the runway and land. And a lot of times that's how we are in life. We can't seem to make a decision. I work with men and women that have a hard time making decisions. But women, often we need to just talk it out to talk. And that's why we do our girlfriend time. We're not looking to solve it. We just need to talk out loud. And so often men are wonderful and wanting to just solve it. How can I fix it? How can I make it better for you, darling? And really so often the woman just kind of needs to talk it through to come up with a conclusion. So women don't always want to be saved, but they want to be cared for and taken care of because they want to give back too. So that's something to think about. Another thing that I think is really interesting is the need to be communicative. It's a tough one. If a woman puts herself out there and says, hey, I really like you, she's such an easy catch that a lot of times guys don't want her. And then the girl feels like kind of feels like the idiot saying, I really like you and you're not responding. And then I've noticed that it's a tough angle because I notice guys have a really hard time with rejection. Actually worse than women, I will say, with all the men and women I work with. Men have a lot harder time. Many men that would come to me after a long marriage had ended or infidelity was there or neglect, they're still in love with their partner, but they know they can't be with them, but they don't really make heart space for the new one. So the new partner, the new woman that comes in, always feels like she's kind of getting the short end of the straw. And it's a frustrating feeling, and it's important. I would love to, and I promise I will work on this, is to have some more male insight and male tips to be able to help and support men in supporting their journey to let love in and let themselves be loved in return. And I so admire the men that are willing to do that, especially the ones that have been hurt. I want you guys to know your pain is real and raw and visible, and to know a woman wants to be there and love you regardless, even if somebody has hurt you or not wanted to be with you. You know, sometimes I remember being on a date with a guy saying, God, I want to meet your ex-wife and thank her for divorcing you because I get to date you. And it made him laugh. And he thought that was so weird, but it was true. It was like, if she wasn't ready to appreciate what you had to offer, my loss is, her loss is my gain, I should say. And, it's about perspective and going, hey, we all change and grow. For so many women, they want a relationship to fit in a certain box. They've got all these rules. I mean, the list, oh my gosh, when I ask a woman to make a list of what she wants in a man, the list is crazy long, and it's so manipulative and confining to the point where either A, they want to prove that the person that won't exist because they've got so many requirements, or B, they really just, they put this fantasy. I mean, yes, us girls were raised on, Disney movies, and there's so many chick flicks that just make you think that, your happily ever after is just going to be at the next park bench you sit down at. But really, it's about willingness to love a person and take them with their luggage and then help them unload as you unload in a safe space, but also let them know it's okay to love again and be in a vulnerable place where you just speak up. So many times when a woman's like even texting a guy saying, hey, I wonder if I'm going to see you again. And he's like, well, maybe if I get around to it. Well, he doesn't realize that's hurting her feelings when really he just doesn't know how he feels. And instead of communicating, I don't know if I'm ready, or maybe I need to, just take a break from dating, or I'm really busy for the next couple of weeks. Let's connect in a little bit. It's that lack of communication that can just drive a woman crazy. So it's not the good kind of crazy though. So for you guys out there that are single, follow up, make a phone call. I will say I'm shocked how many times I would hear, oh, I just never called her back, or I never asked her out again, or we kind of talked about going out, but I just never did anything. Well, if a woman is wanting to have a man that takes the lead and then she's left kind of high and dry, but she's also not a woman that's going to date a bunch of men, she kind of puts herself on the side burner. She puts herself in a position where she doesn't feel like she should start dating until she knows where the original relationship's going, but the guy's already left the field and just never told her he was leaving. So with communication and male and female, some of the things that really stood out is the inability to just say, hey, I'm just not that into our building a relationship, but I think you're a really neat person, and I'm thankful for the time we did share. That is the best way to end something that isn't going anywhere, because you never know. You might cross paths again. You might want to just be friends, or you also want to be fair to let the person free to move on. It's important to communicate. I really think that once you shared relations, not just a kiss goodnight, it was a first date, nothing happens, that's okay. But if you start being more intimate, physically connecting, sharing about your family at a deeper level, maybe endless text messaging that you've been doing and flirting, and you've had a few dates and you're feeling a deeper connection, even if you freak out and kind of don't want to do it, you owe it to the other person to just say, I really was trying to be all in and I really thought we had something. It's just not there for me. You owe that. And I'm just seeing people kind of fade away. I did a flirting workshop a little while ago for men only, and I was surprised how many guys said, oh yeah, I focus on getting the number, but I don't call a lot of them. They said only about 20% of the time do they actually call. So if you're a guy watching this, please, if you ask for a girl's number, just call her or text her and just say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm really not available to date. Or, don't ask unless you kind of want to know something. I mean, I understand sometimes people ask for a number early in the evening, and then as the evening progresses, you realize you're not interested. But don't walk out the door saying, oh yeah, I'll call you sometime, when you really don't mean to. I just want people to be more authentic and more honest in both directions. I think that if we could just get past some of this pretense and kind of misleading energy, it'd be nice, and people would feel safer. People need to also talk to each other a little more respectfully. It's shocking how inappropriate messages people can send one another when there's nobody watching. I noticed that the people in the matchmaking agency actually behave way better with the matchmaker aware of things compared to just the people I would hear when they didn't have a matchmaker introducing them. So kind of act like you have a little I spy on you. I mean, what is your image? Who are you, and what do you want to represent? Because that way that you communicate is important. I remember a story of a guy that was asking me out, and just because we were being fun and flirty when I met him at a bar, just out with a friend, he took it too far in text messaging before even a date. And I was like, I'm not who you think I am. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think I might have offended you. I'm like, yeah, you're being totally inappropriate. And I think that that's important to kind of step back and go, you got to build up a relationship with somebody. You don't want to be sleazy and gross and think that, you don't have any class. You want to have some respect for yourself. There's no relationship that's ever really been built out of being totally inappropriate to each other. It's fun. I mean, if you're into hookups, that's fine, but you have to think about what it is that you really want. What are you really projecting out there? And I look at how many times that men would come in, and I understand men, I totally get you guys that it's very physical, and women, it's very physical too. Women are just willing to look through a couple more layers. But if you want somebody, you've got to be willing to be that person that they're going to want in return. I always just so fondly think of a wonderful client where he was a little overweight. He had been working from home. He had a lot of family issues going on and just didn't have a spark in his step. He just really was kind of blah. And he stepped back one day after one of our sessions and just really goes, the kind of woman I would attract right now would not be a very happy person, wouldn't feel very good about herself because I'm not feeling that great and it's not her job to fix it. So he took a little break and he didn't come in for a couple months. And then when he showed back up, I was like, oh my God, look at those muscles. Look at his skin glow. He had this energy and the zest. It was amazing. He had lost a bunch of weight. He had a totally different attitude. And should you be surprised? But no, he fell in love a month later, actually with an old girlfriend that he went and was visiting from out of state. And she actually came back to visit me after they fell in love to say thank you for bringing back the man she fell in love with 4 years before. So I think about that and I think, what are you doing to be better? I know that I've always had little things that I've got to work on, so I'm right there with you. But what kind of person do you want? Do you want a self-confident person? Do you want a fix-me-up person? Do you want somebody that is going to ride this journey with you? But please don't try to get perfect. Don't get the I'm so perfect, I want the perfect person. We've had clients like that, and that's tough because that actually is a sign of a ton of walls, a ton of blockage. And I know there's times that because I did pageants, I've been on the stage front, I've done modeling and stuff. So there's times I'd almost come across as like I felt I had so much to offer that how could that guy ever match? But I realized they're pretty cool too. It took a few bumps and bruises though, where I wasn't really willing to kind of go and admit that, maybe this person could be good or maybe they have more to offer than I do. I got so caught up in just like, okay, I'll put on this image that, guys seem to like, but it wasn't really me being me, my off the clock thing. So I want you to think about, who are you off the clock? How do you want to be? Do you want to have a person you just come home and flop on the couch and cuddle up with and watch a movie? Do you want that person that's going to be your jogging partner? Do you want someone that's going to want to take adventures? You can be all of those things, but you have to kind of start visualizing making room, visualizing what matters to you. So I'm going to sign off in a second here with the words of, please give people a chance. I have a great client just forwarded me an email from a guy that she didn't think was the one, but he didn't let it go. He emailed her and explained where he thought she was coming from and how he could improve on that. And maybe if there was a misunderstanding or some things that he could help with, but that he wasn't willing just to let it go. And that really stood out to her. The fact that he was willing to step up and say, I'm not willing to just dismiss this. I have something with you. I'm willing to fight for it. When was the last time you wanted to fight for a relationship that you liked? How many of you let that good one get away? How many times do you wish you had done things differently? I challenge you to look and see, is there somebody you should have given another chance? Is there somebody you should have fought for? Is it time for you to start kind of getting out of your own way and being someone that's more dateable, more fun to go on a date with? Somebody actually says, I can't wait to see you the next time. I'll say a lot of people got a lot of first dates, but I think you got to be better at getting to second and third and fourth dates. Don't share your whole story until the person deserves it, but be particular who you pick, but don't be so picky that you can't pick anyone to be someone to be with. There's a lot of great people. And I've seen the great ones and I've seen the not so great ones, so I get where you're coming from. But take the compliment when someone says you're pretty and you're handsome, and let yourself dive in. And you know what? If they don't really give you back nourishment and kind of dismiss you, that's what your friends are for. That's what I'm here for. And jump on here and tell me if you like or you don't like the video, or If you've had some misunderstandings, I'd like you to share. I want to hear and read about how communications might have been off, how misunderstandings happen, how maybe you fought for a relationship, or maybe you wish you had spoken up. I want to hear about it. I want to bond with you on this. I think it's important. I really want to. I want to walk this journey with you. I'm here to support you as you know when it's time to speak up and stand up for the love that you want.